Welcome to Be Happy, Feel Great, where we bring in guests that help you enjoy your life and make you feel happy too. One of the exciting things that I find are people who collect cars and the passion that they have about having an antique car. And with me today, I have two very special guests from the Peconic Bay Region Car Club. And they're going to really share a little bit about all the excitement that it is to own an old antique car. Okay, with me today is the club president, Joseph Induski. I said it wrong. Indusi. And George Bartnick.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, George. Thanks, guys, for coming here today.
Oh, thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for inviting us.
Very, very exciting to have you here today. I have seen your cars. I've seen you guys at different places. I guess it's safe to say I also have an old antique car, and I'm part of the club, and we want to share the excitement with you today and tell people all about it. So, Joe, even though I embarrassingly mispronounced your name, why don't you just maybe tell us a little bit about what it's like to be part of a car club?
Well, I think it's the most important thing, I think, are not only the cars, but the people that you meet, the people who have same objectives that you have to enjoy the cars, to enjoy the camaraderie. And you see that at our club functions, which are a fairly significant number of them. We have a calendar we put out every year, and there's something there for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And, collecting old cars is preserving history. And so you see the look on people's face when they see your old car and they come up to you and they say, well, my father had a car like that, my grandfather had a car like that. And it kind of brings them back to their youth. It brings them back to a time when they were maybe happy and they had some fond memories. And you can right away see that they really enjoy looking at the car, and I let them touch it, and then the youngsters, I let them sit behind the wheel. And so it's a preservation of history. That's the way they looked, that's the way they drove, that's the way they were built.
And it is great that there's so many historic cars on Long Island.
That's true.
Surprises me.
There's many of them closer than you think. They could be just down the road, parked in a garage somewhere.
And George, you have a very unique car. What is it? From the 1920s, Dodge?
Well, it's kind of, I'll just add on a little bit to what Joe just said, is that it's interesting, the cross-section of the people that we have in the club. But it's also just as interesting, the cross-section of cars that we have represented in the club. We have everything from beat-up Model Ts that you've seen at some of the shows. The one that comes to mind is that Model T truck that's got the whole flatbed is just kind of fallen out of the back of it, and that shows up at Halleckville every year. And you've got a person in the club who's got a Duesenberg, which is worth $1.5 million. And the interesting thing is the people that have these cars are just down-to-earth type of people. So I mean, it's a nice group of people that we're always working with, always affiliate with. And yes, I do have a 1923 Dodge Brothers. It's
beautiful car, yeah. And Joe, you've been noted for your Buicks.
Always liked Buicks. My father had one. My uncle worked for a Buick dealer, and so I was around these cars when I was younger. And I guess I was not like most of the people in my youth. They wanted faster cars. They wanted cars that had a lot of speed, and I was more interested in the heavier, more comfortable. To me, Buicks and Cadillacs were always nice-looking cars, and so I just gravitated toward them, and because of a family connection. And then when one would come along and I could accommodate the purchase of that car, that's what I would do. And usually I would certainly improve them. I think in George's case, I think his Dodge Brothers car needed a fair amount of...
A lot of work, he was saying.
Fair amount of work, but it's a lot of fun, and you get a great feeling of accomplishment.
Well, later in the show, we're going to see some pictures, and we do have pictures of both your cars, plus a lot of the different cross-section of cars, like you were saying, that people have in the club. And I think, you know, one of the things that always amazed me is people that collect cars, they don't always stop at one car. It's like
They can't help themselves.
I don't know, is it deals that come up, or they
No,
just...
it's a disease,
It's a
Mike. It's a
disease.
disease. It's something that's really untreatable. You have to
Okay, so
buy the
it's a-
cars, and that makes it go down a little bit.
So it's
But
a very, very expensive hobby for some people.
Yeah,
For some
and,
people, not everybody.
not
I mean,
everybody,
No,
yeah.
there's this misconception that if people have old cars, they must be wealthy. I can assure you I'm not wealthy. But you can get into a nice collectible car for under 15,000, maybe under 10,000. It may need a little fixing, it may need a little improvement, a little cleanup, but you can get a perfectly usable, enjoyable car for in the range of 10 to 15,000, perhaps even less, and get a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of it. And I think your family
Absolutely.
gets a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of it as well.
put it in perspective, Michael, the Ford Falcons are now antique cars. You can buy a nice Ford Falcon if you want to,
Well,
way less than
I thought
$10,000.
I thought I was at Halleckville and I saw a Plymouth Caravan there, and that was actually an
Yep.
antique car
Yep.
already, you know?
Yep.
So, what is it, 25 years? to
25
be
years.
An antique? That brings us back into the 80s, you know?
For it to
So,
be considered an antique by the Antique Auto Club of America, it has to be at least 25 years old. Yeah.
Okay,
And we're affiliated with the Antique Automobile Club of America. Our
Right,
Peconic
right.
Bay Region Club is a region of the Antique Automobile Club of America, which seeks to, preserve and restore cars that are 25 years and older to their original, pretty much factory appearance and factory specifications.
yeah, that's great. And the other thing is, you really don't have to have a car to be part of the club,
No.
right?
No.
Just have an interest in it. For some people, that's a great way to get involved. They could just start meeting people, network, go to meetings, and maybe have some help with when they choose to buy that car, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of expertise out there and that's the one thing that I really enjoy about the club, how everybody is willing to help each other, share all their knowledge, and do whatever they have to make it an enjoyable experience.
Can we give a little plug for the Antique Auto Club of America?
Absolutely.
At this point,
Sure.
It's like Joe said, is that we are a chapter affiliated with Antique Auto Club of America, and I think the membership dues are $35 a year, and you do show them the cover of the latest magazine that came from the AACA. It's a great magazine that comes
Great
out
magazine.
bi-monthly.
Beautiful.
And our club, which is the membership dues, are only $20 a year per household. And we have this great publication called The Blue Smoke, which is really, it really ties people in the club together. People really love this magazine, put together by a member, Kathy Haynes. I'll give her a name because she deserves a lot of credit for the work that she puts into this
And
magazine.
it's an award-winning magazine. She has won so
Yep.
many awards with it. And what a great job. And some of the photos that we're going to see later are actually from Blue Smoke. So we have probably a good cross-section of the members' cars. And everybody talks about they can't wait for that magazine to come out.
They really look forward to it.
It features stories on the members. You could write an article for those people that like to write, take photos, and Kathy just loves getting stuff for it.
Yeah, Kathy will actually go out and she'll actually go to your home. If you have a car that you want to write about or an experience that you'd like to write about, you contact Kathy. She'll come to your home and she'll do the whole thing. Take the pictures, write the article. So she's even done that. She puts her heart into this.
Oh, it's great.
Into this
Yeah, it's great.
magazine.
Now, how about meetings? And, if somebody was looking to join the club, and whether they have an old car or a car collection, or they're just thinking about it, what's the best way for them to get involved?
Well, the best way, of course, would be to contact George Bartnick, who's our membership secretary. And that's a pretty easy process. And you join up. You have to be a member of the Antique Automobile Club of America first. Then you can join the Peconic Bay region, and we have meetings every month.
Okay.
And they're generally held at the South Hall Recreational Center on Peconic Lane.
Okay, up on the North Fork.
Up the North Fork, but we are working on getting a facility to use as a backup and also to hold some meetings a little further west, perhaps in Riverhead. And of course, we have a calendar of events which has something for everybody. I mean, we were lucky this year we could fit it on one page, but there's just several activities every month. Every month has at least 3 or 4 activities, and some months
Wow.
are just more than that, 6 or 7. So there's really something for everybody.
There really, a lot of events are very social. You get to meet the people, you get to meet more people that maybe don't even make it to the meetings.
Yeah.
And what are some of the events that you have coming up, Joe?
We like to feature, I like to always describe, but there's 3 things that I like the most. One of them is we run a judged show. That means that we will have judges that have been trained to evaluate the vehicles to see that they're as close as possible to the way they came out of the factory in accordance with the Antique Automobile Club of America guidelines. So that's a judged show. Not all shows you go to are judged shows, but our shows are judged. That is at Halleckville, and it's generally in the fall. The other show that's called a meet because it's an AACA meet. The other show is the Wounded Warrior Show, which we generally hold at the Martha Clara Vineyards on Sound Avenue. And the third thing I like to talk about, and I'm going to turn this over to George because he really organized it, is we take a tour of the old cars to the nursing homes in the Greenport area. And so I find that really, really interesting that these folks come out and see these cars that they were driving around in their youth.
They were.
And it just lights their face up.
Their
Yeah.
teen years.
George, why don't you mention some of them?
Well, you know, I think that the membership of the car club sort of feels an obligation to give back to the community a little bit, and one of the examples of that Joe just mentioned is the show that we do for the benefit of the Wounded Warrior Project. It's really
great show. That's in May, right?
The Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day
was in this year. It's Saturday, Memorial Day weekend. I don't exactly remember what the date is, 26th of May or whatever it is.
And it could be.
But
We
it's
have a
the Saturday.
website. There's a
24th.
website if anybody
24th.
wants to check stuff.
Yeah.
And we
have a
have in the
website.
past, we've organized rides to the nursing homes as well as the assisted living facilities like San Simeon and Peconic Landing. We've also done it for some of the nursing facilities in Riverhead in past years.
Wonderful.
And like Joe said, the people that come out and they feel like they're 20 years younger, just looking at some of the cars and some of they remember some of the experiences they had when they were kids.
It's got to be such great therapy and just puts a smile on
Yeah, we enjoy
everybody's
doing it
face when
too.
they see
Yeah,
it.
we enjoy it a
Let
lot.
me point out the website is www.pbraaca.org. And that's a quick way to learn how to join up. Just log right on and it'll
And
direct you.
So it's right on the screen right now, and the magic of you talking, it just popped right up there.
Wow.
And very good, thank you. And check that out. You could really see the events, the calendar, the contact, some of the names and people to contact if you're looking to join or just want to go to an event. You know, maybe we could also show people a few pictures of some of the, you know, it's hard to visualize what a car show is like unless we see some photographs, but if you take a look at some of the beautiful cars, it shows you a cross-section of the Wounded Warrior and also the Halleckville show that Joe and George were just talking about before. And everything from a 1902, which you see right now, right up until the 50s, and we have cars in the 60s, the 70s. So there's something for everybody, whether your childhood, if you remember muscle cars and you had that Mustang or Firebird or Camaro, that's a big thing now for people to try to get the car that they couldn't afford when they remember it. And now that they're established and maybe have some more money, the one car there is called the Black Beast. It's what was that, a 1909 Vanderbilt car?
1909.
That's what you're looking at right now,
Alco.
the second one
It's
from
an
the top.
Alco, yeah, American Locomotive Company.
Yep, it's made
Yeah,
by the
it was a race
American
car.
Locomotive
And that was
Company.
at Halleckville, or Wounded Warrior, okay? The owner actually comes to both shows. And these are the types of cars, look at, there's all members' cars right there. Beautiful cars, we could spend a show talking probably about each
Sure.
car.
Yep.
But it's something for everybody. And even if you don't have a car, it's great to experience this and be part of the club and actually see what we have. Wounded Warrior Show, money that's raised gets donated,
Yep.
right?
Everything, none of the money goes to the club. The club members, they run the show, they organize the show. That's a People's Choice Award. It's not a judge show, it's People's Choice. They decide on what cars should get the trophies at the show that benefit. And I have to emphasize that Wounded Warrior Project says that we've got to label this as a show benefiting the Wounded Warrior Project. Whatever reason, they say we can't call it the Wounded, anyway.
Okay.
So we have to
okay,
be
so
very
it's-
specific
Yeah,
about this. But everything that we generate, and we sent a lot of money. This is now the 4th year that we've
And
run this.
what a
and-
what a great setting for it. You could be there at Martha Clara, which is up on Sound Avenue. I guess that would be considered Riverhead there?
Yes,
or-
yes.
Okay. Sound Avenue and Riverhead.
Yep.
Beautiful winery, being outside. It's just a great event that we have. We told you it'll be in May, and Halleckville
Right
is
across the street.
right across the street. So another great location. If you go to one, you know where the other one is.
That's right.
And Halleckville is the perfect setting also for a car show because you have the old-time buildings that are there, and the cars are just up on the lawn for everybody to see. You have spectators coming around. As Joseph said before, you know, people just love talking about their old cars.
Yeah.
They'll bring back their own memories. They'll tell their stories about what they remember when they were a kid, or a lot of times people say, I owned a car just like that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
And the Halleckville one is really the club benefit.
Yeah, the Halleckville show is dedicated to cars that must be 25 years or older. Those are the only cars that are judged at the Halleckville show. However, the car show that we run for the benefit of the Wounded Warrior Project is open to all cars. Anything that people want to drive into the field and want to donate to the cause for the Wounded Warrior Project, they are invited to go to that show at Martha Clara.
Great way to spend a day. It's
yeah.
wholesome. You can bring your children. You can
Drink
there's
a glass
food,
of wine.
Glass of wine. There's food, and if you're interested in the conversation, just walk over to a car and ask the owner to tell you about the car.
And they love
And they just love
They
that. That'll
love
take
it.
20 minutes or
And
30 minutes, and you'll know every
Absolutely.
detail about that car.
Absolutely, and some of these cars, they look like they just came out of the showroom, and others look like they just came out of a barn,
Yep.
and they've been there for the past 50 years, and everything else in between. And it's great. If you haven't ever had an opportunity to go to one of these meets or car shows, these are probably two of the best ones that you could ever go to on Long Island.
Oh, they are the
And
best ones,
They
Mike.
are the best
They're-
ones. They're the best ones, and I agree. You know, they're just great shows, just a lot of fun. And hey, sometimes people even have their car up for sale. You never know. You might end up buying or getting started with your new hobby.
We have to mention that we do participate in another great show, Mike. It was the one at the Cutchogue Historical Society. Let's not leave that out. That's another great show that we have
Okay,
also in
yeah.
October, right?
Yeah.
October is the...
Back in time, before '49, the Cutchogue, New Suffolk Historical Council does have a great show. And the same thing, old buildings. The only thing there is the cars are all 1949 or earlier. So you might not see as many cars, but for those people that like the real old cars, not to say they're not at the other locations too, but this one is just exclusively.
Right.
And a car show is great because there's usually good food that you could be eating. Just a nice time for everybody.
Yeah,
And you have to remember, they all benefit something.
Yep.
Whether it's the club, the organization, such as a nonprofit like Wounded Warrior,
Yep.
or anything else, okay? The Boy Scout Show is another great one in Peconic, which
Yes.
is in September.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's quite a few others. I know a lot of people watching this, you don't live out on the east end of Long Island, but it's a great destination. It's worth it. Check out the website and see when the shows are, mark it on your calendar, and come on out. It's really going to be wonderful. Another thing, guys, I know you participate a lot, is parades. Can you tell us about some of the parades and, you know, what that's like?
It's really something my wife and I enjoy, because the parades, once the parade is over, there's always places to go and things to do. We run a picnic after the parade for our 4th of July parade in Southold. And the number of people that turn out is just huge, and the appreciation they have for the cars makes you feel that, well, it was worth driving out, because they really enjoy seeing these cars. And where else? I mean, it's if they don't go to the shows, they will see the cars in the parades.
Right.
And it's
right.
The applause that breaks out sometimes when a particular model that they happen to remember or like comes by. They show their appreciation. So it adds to the festivities of the day, certainly.
Oh, and you know, you can't beat how good you feel when the little kids are there waving their flags and
Right.
asking you to honk your horn, you know, as you go by.
Right.
Or, you know, some people just with, you know, whatever they have, whether it's a truck and there's people in the back that are riding with them, or a rumble seat is down, or just sitting in a convertible or any other car, to be part of a parade like that is just such a great way to spend a July 4th, or what are some of the other times besides July 4th?
Well, July 4th, that's usually a very hot day. It always seems to turn out to be a very warm day. And on the other end of the spectrum, we also, the club participates in Riverhead's Christmas parade, which is run by, I guess, the Riverhead Lions Club. I think it's the Riverhead Lions Club. And that's usually very early December.
December,
And
it
that's usually very cold. So.
And it usually kicks off in March with
Yeah.
the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Cutchogue.
That's right.
So, you know, from March till December, that's a lot of
activities.
A lot of activity, a lot of time.
activity.
Sure. In September, there's the Maritime Parade in Greenport.
The Maritime.
That's a big parade. We get a lot of turnout for that.
Big event, yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people. And I guess, you know, when you think about it, the folks that attend the parade, the observers, probably would not see a car like George's Dodge Brothers. If they didn't go to a show, they're going to see it at the parade.
Well,
And-
you know,
and
maybe,
that's
I
interesting.
believe we have a picture of George's Dodge Brothers car that we could just show, you know, in a moment or two. And here.
That's it, huh?
There it is. Look at that. You know,
Wow.
there's beautiful car. A couple of our other members that are there. And, you know, this is some of them from the back in time before 49 car show that
Yeah.
we mentioned before. So you're really getting a chance to see some of the members. You see how their wives are actively involved, having a car and just going out for that, maybe the old Sunday afternoon joyride like we all grew up with and remember doing. And there's not too many places that you could still do it, except maybe Eastern Long Island.
Yeah.
And that's why this is the Peconic Bay Region Car Club. They meet there, but as Joe said, they're going to be having meetings a little bit further west. And there's other things that make the car club special. And I think it's the other times that you could bring cars together for other social events. Maybe you guys could tell us a little bit about, you know, some of the events where people have the barbecues and they host different events. Quite a few of them, I think, during the year.
We have at least 2 or 3 of those. We have one on Shelter Island. One of our members hosts that one. He has a museum of Model A, Model T cars.
A lot of Fords, yeah.
And we have a large barbecue there. That's a very enjoyable event. There's, I think, an event that'll be held at the airplane hangar near here, I think.
East Hampton.
East
Yep.
Hampton. And so there's other opportunities. I mean, there's so many activities. If you're just if you're interested in cars, or if you're not interested in cars, but you want to participate, you don't have to own a car, as you pointed out. There's so many opportunities to find really interesting things to do and places to go and things to see. And the cars themselves, of course, as I stated earlier, this is taking you back in time. This is history. These are preserved as they were back in the day.
They really are.
They're just on loan to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on loan
right.
to us.
Well-
We're acting as preservationists. We're holding on to the cars as long as we can, as long as we can drive them, and then somebody else will
It's a nice way to look at it.
take
Just
them
like-
over and continue the heritage of the
Just like
cars.
all antiques, you know,
Yep.
they always just keep getting recycled, I think, as one of you guys mentioned before. It's just great, and you know, the thing about it, Joe, you were talking about, like, on Shelter Island, there's a museum, and a lot of these collectors, besides having quite a few of the cars that are their favorites that they have if they have the room is always an issue for people, you know, where do I put them? They collect other things too. So it's not just cars, you know, I've seen people collecting old toys, I guess you'd call it petromobilia type stuff.
Oil cans.
The oil cans,
Gas
the
pumps.
gas pumps,
Yes.
the
Yep,
stuff,
yeah.
the stuff that they also remember for that period to go along with the cars, that just makes the whole hobby really exciting, really interesting. Like I said, with Be Happy, Feel Great, we like to try to find things that people are passionate about, and we want to get you interested, or at least educate you. And one of the best ways to educate people is join a club, get involved,
Yep, yeah.
meet people, do the parades, do the activities, go to the meets, go to the social events, get involved in the nursing home to visit people, give back to the community. That's what it's all about. And it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy, and you can see how my guests today, how happy they are. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thanks for
Appreciate
inviting
it.
us.
Great.